When an alien robot crashes on Earth, a young martial arts practitioner discovers that the planet is under attack and both decide to merge their powers to defeat a common enemy. Today we're going to recap the story of the 2022 movie, Mechamat. Amato is an Asian boy who, from a very young age, has dedicated himself to martial arts under the guidance of his master. During his training, Tak Sa forbids him from confronting the bullies at his school and says that these self-defense techniques should only be used for the collective good. Thousands of kilometers away, somewhere in the galaxy, the most powerful robots are kept inside a space prison and chosen by their masters to take part in duels. Mechamat's great dream is to be chosen to fight, but as he has no master, he lives imprisoned inside a cage while he is forced to watch the other robots in battle. Nearby, General Gracchus and his soldiers are preparing to invade the arena in search of Mechamat so that the alien can complete his collection of power spheres. That afternoon, after training, Amato goes to meet his friend so that together they can finalize the design project that will be presented in class. Suddenly, Pian's father's computer triggers an alarm and the boy notices that the comet he has been monitoring for weeks is moving too fast. At that moment, Aman appears and realizes that something isn't right, because the comet has changed its trajectory and is now moving towards Earth. Noticing that the planet will soon be affected by the collision, Aman rushes to inform the authorities. What he doesn't realize is that this comet is actually a space prison that is being invaded. During the attack, the cage in which Mechamat is trapped is destroyed and the robot manages to free itself. However, a lot of debris falls on his body and he ends up buried. As a result of the damage to the ship, it begins to be pulled by the Earth's gravity and its operators can do nothing to prevent the collision. When he realizes that a major disaster is about to happen, Gracchus orders his soldiers to evacuate the arena while the aliens activate the ship's sound dampening and cloaking. That night, after leaving Pian's mansion, Amato pedals back home when he spots a large luminous cloud invading the atmosphere. This object then falls into the forest, causing a huge explosion. Curious to know what it is, the boy decides to go there to investigate and ends up inside the invisible shield that camouflages the spaceship. At that moment, he hears some cries for help and runs to help the survivors. When he finds the talking robot, Amato gets excited and walks towards it, but Mechamat attacks him and the boy's body almost disintegrates. Luckily, the shot doesn't hit the boy. Instead, Trocket, one of the biggest fighters in the arena, ends up being hit and prepares to attack them back. However, Amato manages to distract the robot and they both take the opportunity to escape as quickly as possible. The boy quickly gets on his bike and pedals away from the ship, but on the way, Mechamat catches up with him and hitches a ride with him. At this point, the robot throws Amato's project to the ground and destroys the machine that he and his friend have invested so much time in building. When he realizes what has happened, the young man is furious, but he doesn't have time to reprimand the robot, as Trocket remains steadfast in his mission to destroy them. After a few seconds of pursuit, the pair are hit by one of the shots and are about to be eliminated. At that moment, Mechamat fuses his body to Amato's bicycle and transforms it into a turbocharged escape bike. With his speed, he manages to lose the enemy, but they both end up having an accident. Meanwhile, Gracchus and his soldiers arrive on Earth to continue their search for Mechamat, who is now a long way from the ship. The next morning, Amato wakes up in his room and wonders if everything that happened the night before was just a dream. However, when his father shows up and mistakes Mechamat for the project the boy was working on, he realizes that the alien invasion is real. The young man then discovers that the creature is capable of combining with any object to form something completely new and decides to become its master. After pressing the button, Amato has his DNA scanned and, from now on, the boy can control the robot via a remote control. Suddenly, Trocket appears again and says he's been looking for the pair all night. This time, however, Mechamat merges with Amato's backpack and they both fly away. On the way to school, Trocket manages to catch up with them again and attacks his opponents, causing them to fall. To prevent his master from getting hurt, Mechamat fuses himself to the boy's body, forming a suit of armor. When they both land on the city bridge, an accident occurs and Amato helps the drivers escape, as Trocket starts firing missiles at the bridge. After protecting a mother and daughter who were about to be shot, the pair fire a blast of energy at their enemy and manage to defeat him. Thanks to this heroic act, the locals mistake them for superheroes and they become known as Mechamat. After leaving the river, Trocket is found by an android sent by Gracchus and is about to be taken prisoner when Mechamat appears with his lightsaber and eliminates the creature along with his army. Later, when he returns to the ship, the android reports to his master everything that has happened and informs him that, despite the attack, they have managed to capture Trocket and Bagogo. After interrogating his new prisoners, Gracchus discovers that Mechamat has a new master and claims that he will destroy Amado, just as he did to the former master of that power sphere. That night, when he gets home, the boy calls Pian to share all the adventures he's had that day. But Amon answers his call and he's informed about the existence of alien robots on Earth. The next morning, after having his coffee, Amado goes to school with Mechamat and, on the way, comes across Beulah and Billy. After threatening him, the delinquents knock him to the ground and charge him a monthly fee to leave him alone. Seeing Amado in trouble, the robot prepares to attack the guys, but his master forbids him to do so and, instead of getting into trouble, he hands over all his money to the bullies. When Beulah and Billy leave, Mechamat asks why Amado let them get away with it and the boy reveals that his master forbids him to use his abilities to hurt others. At that moment, Deep appears and is impressed to see the robot that the boy has built as his design project. When all the students are gathered in the classroom, the teacher introduces them to their new classmate and Mara appears. Seeing her, Amado remembers that this is the girl he saved on the bridge and Mara begins to stare at him. When the young man and his friend are invited to present their project in front of the class, Pian realizes that it's not the machine he built and, despite Amado's efforts to circumvent his teacher, the pair end up failing. At the end of the lesson, Amado explains to his friend everything that happened the day before and why he lost the device they had built together. Even so, Pian is still sad because he knows his father will be disappointed when he finds out he failed. However, when he sees the alien robot's incredible powers, the boy gets excited again and is impressed by Mechamat's ability to merge with any other object. Then, while the youngsters are having fun on the motorcycle, Mara appears and claims to know that Amado is the hero who saved the people on the bridge. Suddenly, a robot sent by Gracchus appears and tries to capture Mechamat. To save his friend, Amado decides to attack it and everyone is amazed to see the boy's incredible martial arts skills. However, instead of knocking down the machine, the blow causes Amado to injure his hand and he becomes the robot's new target. In an attempt to save his master, Power Sphera orders him to get on the bike and tries to escape, but they are both chased through the streets and have to flee from the androids who are trying to capture them at all costs. However, when the pair approach the town fair, they end up being shot at and Mechamat gets separated from the bike. Now he needs to find another vehicle to continue his escape, so he turns Mr. Sasao's rickshaw into a racing car to throw off his enemies. After a long race through the city, they come across a lake and Mechamat has to turn the tricycle into an aircraft. Meanwhile, Pian takes Mara on a boat trip and introduces her new classmate to the city. The girl claims that, before moving, she did some research on the town and discovered that it has a local superhero called Mechamat, who uses a high-tech suit to carry out his missions. Mara also knows that Pian's father owns a technology company and begins to suspect that Amon and Mechamat are the same person. However, to prove that the young woman's theory is false, Pian shows her a photo in which her father and the superhero appear together, side by side. During the flight, Amado realizes that something is wrong, as countless robots have already tried to capture Mechamat. So he asks why his friend is being sought and discovers that the robot is being hunted by Gracchus, a Power Spheres collector who wants to eliminate the boy to become the new Mechamat master. While talking, the pair are hit by a missile and end up on a floating platform in the middle of the ocean. At that moment, they discover that they have been attacked by Trocket and suddenly General Gracchus appears to steal the orb. When he sees him, Mechamat is terrified because he knows that this enemy is the one who eliminated his former master. However, Amado says that he will protect him and the two merge in order to combine their abilities to defeat him. Now that his body is protected by the suit, the boy can use his martial arts to deflect Gracchus's attacks. However, when the general starts shooting, the pair have to hide and look for something useful that can be used in battle. As he only finds rolls of toilet paper, Amado decides to use them as grenades to blow up the enemy. Furious, Gracchus uses his tentacles to bring the mass down on the boy and then goes after him to finish the job. While Power Sphera and his master try to recover from the attack, the general approaches to deliver the final blow. At that moment, Mechamat is possessed by the memory of the day he lost his old master and Amado manages to access this memory. Determined to save the robot, his master threw him away so that Mechamat could escape and was soon eliminated. However, this time Gracchus isn't so lucky, because just as he's about to eliminate Amado, Mechamat appears and strikes the enemy with his lightsaber. He then sends his drones to attack the general and, with a single kick, manages to throw him away. When he gets up, Gracchus uses his tentacles to try to eliminate his opponent, but Mechamat manages to defend himself with an energy shield. However, it doesn't take long before the general manages to break it and pierce the superhero's armor. Mechamat is about to be defeated when he decides to use his martial arts skills to his advantage and is once again able to brutally strike his enemy. Then, Just when the superhero thinks he has defeated the alien creature, Gracchus rises from the rubble and captures him with its tentacles. He then tries to destroy his costume, but is attacked by a blast of light and ends up being temporarily blinded. Immediately, Mechamat picks up the injured boy and takes him to safety. At this point, Pian goes to visit his father and decides to take Mara to meet him. When she meets him, the girl asks a few questions and comes to the conclusion that Amon and Mechamat are not, in fact, the same person. When he wakes up, Amato tries to find out where he is and is confused when he sees Taksa next to him. Then he sees Mechamat's mask and realizes that, all this time, it was his master who was protecting the city. Suddenly, Mr. Amon and Mayor Andy appear and inform him that the three of them are taking turns protecting the residents with the help of that suit. Amon then informs him that the armor is made of an extremely rare metal called spheranium, which he extracted from the spaceship that crashed on Earth. Through the artificial intelligence built into it, the suit is able to learn from its wearers. So Amon has chosen strategic companions to make it even more powerful. Master Tak was chosen for his incredible martial arts skills and Mayor Andy for his tactical vision. At this point, Amato discovers that Mechamat has already captured countless robots and that there are many more scattered around the planet. That's why his master advises him to be careful and not to go around playing at being a superhero, as his irresponsibility has already put countless lives in danger. Furious at not being able to capture the robot, Gracchus decides to team up with the power spheres in his collection to create the most powerful version of his armor. The next morning, Amato is having coffee with his parents when he realizes that the attack he suffered the day before has been reported in the newspaper. Immediately, he turns off the TV so that his parents don't find out what happened and goes to school. When he wakes up, Mechamat looks for the boy and comes across Mr. Amon, who informs him that he is working on a solution to make Amato stop being the alien robot's master. According to Taksa, the young man is not prepared to deal with Mechamat's enormous power and, if they continue to synchronize, Amato will always be in danger. Amon says that all he needs is time to decode the robot's system and reveals that he intends to become its new master in order to stop Gracchus. When he finds his friends, Amato has to explain what happened to Mechamat and says that it is being repaired as it suffered a lot of damage during the last battle. Suddenly, Beulah and Billy show up to pick on Amato and, once again, the boy decides to run away rather than face them. Then, while he's hiding, an android sent by Gracchus appears and starts chasing him. Now that Mechamat is far away, Amato is unable to defend himself and must flee to avoid being destroyed. However, when he sees his enemy standing in front of a lake, the boy decides to push him into the water and manages to get rid of him. Just then, General Gracchus's ship flies over the city and attacks the residents in an attempt to attract the boy's attention. During the attack, the alien destroys a suspension bridge and one of the trains ends up falling. Just as the vehicle was about to hit the ground, Mechamat's drones arrive on the scene and prevent it from falling, saving dozens of lives. The superhero then appears at Amato's side and saves the boy from being captured by the androids. After all the passengers have been removed from the train, Gracchus appears and manages to overturn the vehicle. After the crash, Amato is trapped in the ironwork and ends up being crushed by the wreckage of the bridge. Luckily, one of Mechamat's drones manages to save him and the hero claims to be with Mechamat in an attempt to lure the villain away from the city. Just as he's about to reach the hideout, Andy is shot and passes the suit on to Amon. Meanwhile, the Mechamat transfer process is in its final stages. With the help of the drone that saved him, Amato manages to reach the base and meets Taksa. While they talk, Amon is outside wearing his suit to fight the general. His goal is to buy time until the transfer is complete, so he decides to merge his drones to form a giant sword and defeat Gracchus with a single blow. However, after attacking the alien, the superhero is hit by a laser beam fired from his ship and Amon ends up fracturing his spine. The man can barely move when he discovers that Gracchus has captured countless innocent people, and among them is his son. At that moment, Amato and Mechamat appear and Amon discovers that they have not been separated. The truth is that, seeing the connection between the boy and his robot, Taksa decided to give them one more chance to prove that they were worthy of each other and stop the transfer process. So, after merging, the two friends go up against the general in a final battle and, after dodging his blows, turn a mop into a real combat weapon. With the help of his sword, Amato manages to cut off the enemy's wings, which makes Mechamat more confident that they can win the duel. However, when he realizes that he is outnumbered, Gracchus decides to use his prisoners to disperse the boy's attention and opens the capsules for the humans to fall from the ship. Seeing the lives of all those people in danger, Amon sends his drones to save them, but fails to rescue Mara and Pian. Determined to save his son's life, he activates the suit to fly towards him and, as luck would have it, manages to rescue him. Meanwhile, Amado turns a piece of wood into a flying board and saves Mara. When they both manage to get off the cliff, Amon decides to reveal the truth to his son, and Pian is thrilled to discover that Mechamat is his father. While landing on the platform with Mara, Amado suffers an attack and is electrocuted by the alien. As the electrical discharge runs through his body, Mechamat disconnects from the boy, and then Amado is thrown over the cliff. With the boy gone, Gracchus can finally become the master of the most powerful power sphere in the universe. However, when he tries to fuse Mechamat to his body, something goes wrong and the robot realizes that his master is still alive. So he attacks the alien and goes to find Amado. At that moment, they are both attacked by the general, and, as they are about to fall over the cliff, Mechamat merges with an aircraft and, together, they become a giant robot. Frustrated at not being able to defeat a simple human, Gracchus decides to attack them with full force, but his blows are blocked by an energy shield. Amado then grabs hold of the alien's tentacles and pulls it towards him to strike it. Confident, the boy prepares to deliver the final blow, but is caught by surprise by his enemy and has to use the moves he learned from the Tok-Sa master to take him down. He then throws the general against a warplane, but the alien still manages to get up unharmed. Quickly, the pair flies away from the base to make sure their friends aren't hit by the next attack, and Amado strikes the enemy with the palms of his hands. In an attempt to help the boy during the battle, Amon sends his drones so that he can form a sword, and Mechamat merges to make the weapon even more powerful. After receiving the last blow, Gracchus loses consciousness and is falling at high speed. When he wakes up, he has no time to dodge the attack and is thrown against his own ship. After getting rid of the general, Mechamat eliminates his soldiers and destroys the spaceship they used to get around. At that moment, the vehicle falls on top of Gracchus and the duel ends with a huge explosion. After defeating the enemy aliens, the duo rushes to help Amon, who has completely lost the movement of his legs as a result of the wounds he sustained in battle. As the fracture in his spine has left him paralyzed, the man invites Amado to take his place as Mechamat, and the boy promptly takes on this responsibility alongside Mechamat. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.